Hi everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we will understand one of the most commonly asked Kubernetes interview topic, RBAC. Many people get confused between cluster role binding, and cluster role binding. By the end of this video, you will know exactly when to use each one and why only three RBAC combinations are valid. So first, we need to understand what is RBAC. So RBAC is basically stands for role-based access control. Instead of giving everyone administrator permissions, Kubernetes allows you to define exactly who can access which resources. So the on the background, the API server checks every request against RBAC rules, and then it allows that users to access that specific resources, and giving access to creation and update and delete access to that resource. So what exactly is your role? So a role basically contains the permission inside a single namespace. For example, viewing pods, creating config maps, and deleting services, but only within one namespace. For example, if we are providing someone an access to namespace of development, so it's the role should only be allowed them to get access for the pods and listing the pods related to that specific namespace. Specifically, same as cluster role, here we give a higher authentic a higher access to that user, and that it works across the entire cluster levels. So it can provide permissions for cluster resources like nodes or persistent volumes. It can also be reused inside the namespace. So it's a in a hierarchy, cluster role accesses, a user can access all the namespaces under that cluster. But as a if something you have defined it for a specific namespace, then they will not be allowed to be access the cluster level resources, then like your nodes and persistent volume. So cluster role is on top of your a specific rule that you have defined for under the for a specific namespace. So for the next one is your cluster role binding and cluster role binding. So basically, cluster role binding grants permissions across the entire cluster. So role basically is your who can access that, and cluster role binding is your what permissions you will have under the under the cluster or in the namespace or under the role and the specific role conditions. So basically the under the combinations of a role and role binding, you will have a role plus role binding, and it is given it to the developer. So suppose a developer, suppose you are as a user has a role of developer. So developer will have a something permission accessible. So they will have a they can create a pods, they can access list the pods, they can configure and edit something in that in their pod specifications or YML file. So that specific it completely defines under that developer role. So so once the new user should be comes under that, so we will define him under the same role as a developer. So whatever the attached with that role like your developer, so then the user can access all those roles, and access that permissions uh, under that role. So permission exists only in one namespace and granted only in that namespace. So if you will look at here, we have a multiple conditions I have given here. So if you will look at here, so we are defining two role plus role binding for a specific namespace. Here we are defining here, and the user should be it will be defining under the particular namespaces. So same as the cluster role bindings, we are giving a user access of all the cluster related access or permissions under the cluster role configurations. So permissions available under the cluster wide, and it's applied across all the clusters. So next one is a cluster plus role binding. If you have defined something cluster role, and that role should be connected with your role bindings. If you need to specify some role to the role specific to your namespace, so that the user those have an access of that cluster, they can specifically particular namespace, they can access that one. So they, in this way you can also define your RBAC as well. So there have been, you can see multiple options of it. 4 RBAC combinations has been given here. So how the role and role binding works. So suppose a user or group or service account, you have you are looking to access some specific resource. So here you are defining some role that will be on your namespace level or in the cluster role level, and that should be bind to the specific role binding permissions. So that will be the for your reading nodes under cluster roles, or reading your persistent volumes claims, or there will be any how you can list that what are the volume related data. So you can do that through under the cluster rule. And if you look to do that something related to the pods like creating, listing, you can access the API servers, that will be under the cluster rule bindings. So pod related specification you can define, and that will be whatever that is under the namespaces. You can define their role permissions under the role binding rules. So how it authorizes and request, it authenticates your request. So someone comes to and create as a user, uh, tries to access and create a pods. So Kubernetes API servers, which basically authenticates all your requests, and it validates through your roles and role binding rules whether you have an access to or denies that access to the particular resources. So let's get have an demo of it, then you will come to know about it properly. So here we have a three node cluster in which we have one control plane and two worker nodes. So let's get deploy one application. Sorry, first we will create in a role, and then we'll create a role binding for it as a service account, for a service account, so that service account have an access to create or update, create a list and list a pod access. So we will first create and give a demo of it. So first we will create a namespace. So we have created a namespace. Now we'll create a service account as a process. So we have created two us a namespace and service account. So we will give that service account to for an access to that, whether they will create pods or list a pod, that whatever the rule bindings we will define here, and they will under the namespace of processor, they can list and create a pods on it. So let's create a role first. So here we are creating a role under the namespace of processor. We have given the role as the name of processor, and the verb is basically the what are the permissions that will be applicable here. So we are defining this create, list, uh, delete, what permissions we are providing under the verb conditions, and what resource basically this role binding should relate to. So we are basically using for pods. You can define the resource as well for the persistent volumes, deployments, secrets, config maps. So for specific resource we are giving permissions, so that as a role of processor it will be going to access pods, and they can create and list that pods under that permissions. Now I'm here creating that role binding. So that role should be, the role binding name should be processor. It should be under the namespace of processor, and it should be attached with that this service account that will give him the it will give him the permissions of creating so as a service account or as a user. You can attach as user as well here in it, but we are using right now as a service account, that will have a role of processor, and it will be going to access through this role binding rules. So let's create this one. So the processor, now the role binding has been attached with the service account. Now we will check whether as a service account of your processor, do you have an access of creating the pod, or do you have a permissions for it? So let's check it through with this. So the syntax for it is your command line sentence will be your Kubernetes kubectl -n processor auth can I create a pods hyphen as your system service accounts processor. That is basically it is your namespace, and this is your name service account name. So once you were whenever you're going to create a service account, you need to define under that namespace as well. So where you providing the permissions, so we are basically providing under this namespace. So let's check whether it's what it provides. So yeah, we have an access for it. So let's we create whether apart from creating, we will check whether we can delete this pod. We have a permissions of deleting this. No, you don't have a permissions as permissions to create delete under this processor under the processor namespace. So let's first create a pod as a service account, and we will check whether you can delete it or not as a service account user. So let's run our Nginx pod Nginx. So the pod has been run. Now we will see still get. So the pods has been creating. Let's check it again. So it's running now. So we will check whether so I think we have created it and without under the namespace. So let's first create under this name under the particular namespace. Sorry, search as so here you can see we can create Nginx pod with name Nginx with the under the namespace of processors as system service account. We can create a pods, but the same thing I have done it without as a namespace. You can see there it has been written as a pod is forbidden user services and user service account processor can't create resources pods in API graphs in the namespace default. So it doesn't have a permissions to create a new pod. So we under the because we have defined some rules to it as for this service account, so it can create under that particular namespace. Now we will try to check whether it can delete it or not. So let's delete this pod. Under the namespace processor. Now sorry, I have written something wrong. No, so you can see here we don't have a permissions for deleting pods under that namespace of processor, which we have earlier defined it under the rule that it only creates a list of your resources, that is your pods under this service account user. So if I will going to check it if we can list that pods. So if we'll write down the kubectl get pod, if I will remove the names and enter, so you can check you can get the pods as well from the under the particular namespace and as a service account. So basically you have some defined some roles and attach that roles to that um, particular service account or the user. It may be a user as well, but we basically under the Kubernetes, we basically define as a service account, and we give them some IDs or public keys so that they can authenticate properly with the through QCT, Kubernetes API servers, and execute different resources, and you can access different resources under that permissions that you have defined under this. So thanks for watching this video. We will give you another interesting videos in the next session. Thank you everyone. Bye.